Welcome back to New Day. Hey, do you remember the Ice Bucket Challenge? Back in 2014, 17 million people, including yours truly, drenched themselves in ice water to help find a cure for ALS. And while that was quite the experience, there's an easier and less painful thing that you can do today to lend a hand in the fight against this terrible disease. Here to explain are Kimberly Lowe and Monica Paris from Everything ALS. Thank you so much for being here. Now, Monica, I do want to get to this study in just a moment, but first, Kimberly, talk to me about what drew your interest in ALS.
Yeah, so ALS came into our family about 5 years ago when my mom was diagnosed. And before then, it was just something that we knew from the Ice Bucket Challenge and things like that.
Yeah.
But once she was diagnosed, it was something that really consumed our family to make sure she had adequate care.
How old was she when she was diagnosed, and did doctors know right off the bat?
Yeah, so her symptoms started when she was 67, and it started with just foot drop. And she couldn't lift the toes of her left foot, and it gradually progressed, and it took about 18 months to have a final diagnosis.
Oh my goodness. That had to be so hard for your family going through that, seeing that. At what point was her speech affected?
Yeah, so ALS is a neuromuscular disease, right? It affects the nerves that talk to the muscles, and it affects breathing as well. So her speech was affected once she was losing her ability to breathe. So that was about 2 years into her diagnosis.
Oh my goodness. Monica, tell me about this new research involving voice recordings.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Allowing me to share about this study. Currently, our study is focusing on speech because, as Kim mentioned, it gets affected with ALS at some point in the patient's progression. Our speech study is done in collaboration with Modality AI, which is a tech company, and we're taking those speech and recordings, facial recordings of participants, and analyzing them for patterns that hopefully will allow us to identify earlier when somebody has ALS and how their disease is progressing.
Because this information, this research will help to understand the disease more and hopefully one day look for a cure or treatment?
Well, our hope is definitely that we will be able to move forward on earlier diagnosis. Right now, that is one of the biggest roadblocks. People don't get diagnosed until, like Kimberly said, months and months or even years into their disease. By that point, the ability to come up with treatments that help and or a cure is very limited. So we need to catch it sooner, identify it sooner, see how it is progressing to make a difference. And speech is one of those things we're looking at for that.
So given that we're trying to find this sooner, you're asking people who obviously don't have a diagnosis, who never really had this in their family, to come and be a part of this research.
We're basically asking anyone who is willing to help, who wants to collaborate. They just have to be 18 and older.
Okay.
And the idea is that by having control subjects plus people who might be facing ALS or might be waiting for a diagnosis, we can do a comparison of how their speech and facial features change when they're talking.
Yeah. And so with that, with all of that, when your family, you got involved in this, is this because your hope is to find a cure so that others don't have to go through this?
Absolutely. It's a devastating disease, and my mom was a vibrant, healthy woman, and she was nearly paralyzed before she passed. It's just devastating. So the earlier we can intervene, the better drugs we can develop. It's just really needed.
How can people get involved? I mean, if there is, you're looking for folks, how do we get these people to you?
That is a great question. So the best way to do it is via our website. You just visit everythingals.org, and it just literally has a tab that allows you to join our studies. It's super brief, super short, just a few questions. Then we get back in touch with you. And to participate in the study, you make a commitment of about 20 minutes. That's it. That's the whole speech session. You can do multiple ones. That gives us even better data. But the whole session is just 20 minutes.
Okay.
All you need is a cell phone, tablet, laptop, anything that has a camera and a microphone.
So you don't even have to come into a facility.
Nothing.
You can do it at home.
You can do it at home, from work, anywhere that is convenient to you, and we would really love to have as many people participate as possible.
So literally there's nothing stopping us, y'all, to do this. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay, so where do we go? What's the website? Where do we find you?
everythingals.org.
Okay, and we're going to have all this information up on our website as well. But I'm really glad that we got to speak with both of you. I'm very sorry for your
you.
loss, and I'm very inspired by what you all are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much
you.
for having us, Andy.
Absolutely. We'll be checking back in.
Okay.
All right.